to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
Ladies and gentlemen, with the help of our squad here, particularly producer Griff, we have been able to track down so we can have a conversation, get some understanding about what we saw on camera. What appeared to be a delivery guy on a bike. I saw a book bag and I saw a guy on a bike going in one direction, and then all of a sudden the cop starts beating him with a billy club. He turns in the other direction to go in the direction I think the cop wanted him to go, and then two other cops ran up and started beating him with a billy club and then stole his bike. It is right here in New York City. And
what day was this?
This was 2 days ago, I believe. Armin, how are you?
Yep. Doing well.
Armin, this was 2 days ago?
Yeah. So that, just to be clear, that wasn't me in the video, but the exact same thing happened to me in pretty much the exact same place. And there are, frankly, so many videos of cyclists getting attacked by the cops at this point. It's a clear pattern. Last night it was picked up basically on like an NYPD radio that the cops are considering even possession of a bicycle to be justification for arrest, even if you're media. I mean, this is a tactic that the NYPD is using for who knows what reason, whether it's to discourage people from violating the curfew or what. But it's a strategy that they're using.
The mayor also said he wanted the NYPD to stop arresting food delivery people. And that's a problem now.
Yeah. But the really kind of terrifying thing about this whole situation the city's been in the last few days is that it seems like the cops are basically kind of making things up on the fly. You go out one night and then suddenly bicycles are banned in New York City after 8 p.m. And it's unclear who's making those decisions and how and why. It seemed last night.
And I hate to do this because,
sure.
Listen, this is all on the fly.
Yeah.
Right? There's no precedent for everything that's happening. And they're trying to regain control because there are looters and criminals out here taking advantage. The problem is they're going too far. And like the video that I saw, I didn't even understand why the aggression. Like there was no context. And even with the guy, when I see people in multiple cases, men and women, trying to go in the direction that the police are encouraging them to go to stay out of the way.
Right.
They are still being assaulted by police.
So what happened?
What did they tell you?
They haven't told me anything yet. I didn't get a precinct number or badge number or anything from the cops who beat me up. Instead, they just kind of cursed at me and shoved me and took my bike away. I haven't heard anything from them. I'll say that at Borough Hall the other night, there was no looting of any kind. There was no indication that there would be any looting of any kind. The aggression from the cops, it was unbelievable seeing the way that like almost a switch had flipped in their minds when they got halfway across Cadman Plaza and just decided that they were going to break up this crowd by force.
So what happened to you exactly? Can you take us through your story?
Sure. So there were probably about 400 or 500 people at the top of Cadman Plaza. This was 2 nights ago. The cops had closed the Brooklyn Bridge off.
Do you mean the night that they trapped the protesters on the bridge?
No, this was the night after. This was a different trapping of protesters near a bridge. And the cops were trying to push the crowd towards Borough Hall, but as I've seen at multiple protests this week, as soon as the police start to advance on the crowd, it creates this kind of stampede effect, right? So there were a couple times where we had 500 people just sprinting away from the cops towards Borough Hall, which is really kind of a dangerous situation. And I was kind of on the edges of the crowd with a bicycle helmet that said press on it. I didn't want to be at the front of the crowd because I didn't want to get stampeded. So I was sort of closer to where the cops were. And then when we got halfway across Borough Hall, because the police were herding people in some direction for some reason, it started to rain. Like it started to monsoon in about 30 seconds. And then it seemed like the police just kind of had it. And they were just kind of lunging at people and like slipping around on the pavement, and there were people getting whacked with clubs. And I thought to myself, I got to pull off to the side here and at least put my notebook away, get it out of the rain. And I took my backpack out, and the next thing I knew, there was like this hard contact on my right shoulder. Just like this whack, like right on like the shoulder muscle. And I was like on the ground getting restrained by 3 or 4 different cops. And one of them's got my backpack, and he screams like, "What's in your bag?" And I said, like, I'm a journalist. I've got journalist things in my bag. I've got a notebook and pens and stuff like that. We rifled through my bag. They searched through it without any real reason. Didn't ask me for any ID. Didn't seem to care that I was press. Threw the bag at me. Didn't let me zip it up. Didn't let me search to make sure they hadn't taken anything. And then when I was on my feet, they kind of shoved me and they were like, "Get out of here." And I was like, "Hey, can I have my bike back?" And then they said, "It's not your bike anymore." Simple as that. And then when I tried to get some kind of phone number or some kind of way of reporting them or something like that, they basically, lots of F words, go to F home, things like that. And I was pretty sure I was whacked when I was on the ground too, because I got a second bruise on my left butt cheek that's actually more painful than the shoulder at this point.
Look, it's tense in the street, and cops are getting bashed in the head with bricks, and people are filling up milk containers with cement and throwing it at cops, and there's a lot going on in the street. So I understand why they're going after people's bags to see who the looters are. They're trying to gain control. And I'm going to reiterate it, too, for the audience. The problem is that people don't have any faith or trust in the cops. It's been lost. And so the respect they're trying to get and I guess the way they're trying to get control of the city back, nobody's respecting that, and it's all coming off as continued police brutality. Yep. Then you got a story like this where somebody's, clearly you're a journalist, you're out here trying to document everything that's happening so that people can better understand, and they beat on you and take your bike. So, without even giving you any, like, hey, you can pick it up from the precinct later on. Like, it's just out of control out there.
Yeah, and the strategy from the police that I could see was to disperse these crowds by force. They were out after curfew. The cops were just sick of looking at them and dealing with them. Mm-hmm. It was really just kind of as simple as that. And again, the way that it went from being relatively calm to just the aggression that I saw from just row after row of cops. And the other thing that, like, this is like one of the most surreal things about this whole experience. When night falls, it's like they're invisible, right? They're wearing these dark blue uniforms
on purpose, but
that's on purpose. Can't tell who's who.
That's on purpose,
right?
Curfew is even set at 8:00 because it's getting dark at 8:00. They want people. Yeah. They don't want people out after dark because people are breaking windows and busting into things. So, look, I can't argue with them on that because they definitely want people to stop tearing up buildings, and they want people to get out of the streets because that's when it's dark is when the craziness happens. So I can't even argue with that. But I also understand in social disobedience, guess what? Yeah. People are going to disobey the order, and that's why we're having this problem.
Right. And you can't beat every single person who's disobeying the order in peaceful protest. That's not going to work.
And also, look, this is New York City. An 8 p.m. curfew in New York City is absurd.
Hey, Armin, you're supposed to be sheltering in place with your mask on and social distancing. There's so many ordinances that you're breaking by riding your bike at night, man.
So the only way to solve that is to steal your bike.
Yeah. Or to create deterrence, like don't take your bike out or we'll steal
ride.
It.
Yeah.
Now you can't do nothing. Armin, we appreciate your time today, man. And stay focused, stay diligent. And to everybody out there peacefully protesting, listen, we got to stop. We got to stop engaging with the police officers like this. 200 arrests in Brooklyn last night. I do understand the frustration. I do understand what's happening. But we got to, if anything, we got to keep the momentum going, and we got to keep the city and the community on our side. and continuing to get arrested and continuing to allow looters and violence to take place is going to keep the community.
But was
from
there
being
any
on our
was there any
side.
looting and violence yesterday, or the day before?
There was some looting yesterday. I think but that was in Manhattan. The people they arrested in Brooklyn, I don't think anything was going on there. It was just out after curfew. So, Armin, thank you for your time, man.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks for having me on.
Get
This is
well.
great.
Put some ice on your butt cheek.
I will.
Take care.